This story is based on a real-life incident. He walked out to buy milk, that was all. Just milk, and that was the last time anyone ever saw 32-year-old Marcus Ellison alive, a software engineer from Delacroix, Maine, known for his quiet routine, his early morning jogs, and the small beige notebook he always carried in his jacket pocket filled with strange diagrams, binary code scribbles, and what friends jokingly called paranoid puzzles that no one but Marcus understood. It was 9:12 p.m. on March 2, 2023, when he stepped out of his apartment at Fairhill Towers with his keys, wallet, and phone, telling his girlfriend Jamie he'd be back in 10 minutes, heading toward the corner store just 3 blocks away. A trip he'd made dozens of times, but he never came back, and that 10-minute walk became the opening chapter of a case that would eventually involve thermal drone sweeps, algorithmic audio forensics, and a federal geospatial anomaly unit brought in under sealed orders after the details of Marcus's disappearance proved anything but ordinary. At 9:15 p.m., Marcus passed by a security camera outside the deli visible on the footage, hands in his coat pockets, glancing up at the flickering overhead light, and then vanished between one frame and the next. He appeared in frame 642 at the edge of the screen, mid-step, and by frame 643 just 0.03 seconds later, he was gone, not moved out of view, not obstructed, but erased as if that fraction of a second had swallowed him whole. Police initially suspected voluntary disappearance, but his bank account remained untouched. His phone pinged one final time at 9:17 p.m. from an impossible location over 1.4 miles south, inside a building that hadn't existed since 1998, the site of a collapsed psychiatric hospital destroyed in a chemical fire, and the timestamp of that ping was embedded with a metadata tag that did not match any existing time zone, instead listing UTC 0:00_phi, a formatting error that no device manufacturer or telecom engineer could explain. When investigators entered Marcus's apartment the next day, they found everything in place except for his notebook, which Jamie swore he always kept on him, and when they reviewed smart speaker data from inside the apartment, they discovered something chilling. At exactly 9:16 p.m. 4 minutes after Marcus left, the device activated on its own and recorded 6 seconds of whispering in a language linguists could not identify, ending with the phrase "loop closed" spoken in Marcus's voice, though he was nowhere near the apartment at the time, and when they tried to play the audio again, it corrupted every speaker and phone used to listen within seconds eventually, leading to its secure containment by the Cyber Intelligence Task Force under a Class 4 audio hazard label. Over the following days, strange phenomena began to occur in and around the block where Marcus vanished, streetlights flickering in Morse code-like patterns, shadows appearing in storefront reflections without corresponding bodies, and an unusual drop in barometric pressure isolated to a single 3-block radius, as if the weather itself was bending around an unseen center. Then, 5 days later, Jamie received an envelope in their mailbox postmarked with no date, no return address, containing only Marcus's notebook and a small piece of card that read, "Not your version," in handwriting that matched his exactly. The notebook, however, was not quite the same. Though the cover bore his signature coffee stain, the contents had changed drastically, filled now with strange algorithms looping into themselves, maps of places that didn't exist, and drawings of a city skyline under a red moon with a figure standing at every corner, each wearing Marcus's face. When cyber analysts attempted to decrypt the binary notes, they discovered the output was not text, but sound and audio wave file that, when played, produced a series of mechanical chimes followed by silence, then the sound of wind, then a recording of Marcus saying the words, "I didn't make it through," as if reading from a script, followed by exactly 17 seconds of silence, and then a second Marcus voice stating, "But something else did." Additional anomalies arose when traffic camera footage from nearby intersections began to show brief flickers fractions of a second where a man matching Marcus's build and clothing would appear standing on rooftops, in alleyways, or even inside locked buildings, never moving, never blinking, and always gone the instant the feed refreshed. The FBI eventually issued a non-public internal alert titled Ellison Protocol, advising law enforcement nationwide to report any sudden electronic distortion events within urban surveillance systems, accompanied by unexplained audio bursts or time desyncs, especially those involving individuals who appeared to blink in and out of frame, though the public was told nothing. 2 weeks after his disappearance, a child playing in a sandbox 3 states away unearthed a photograph buried 5 inches deep beneath the soil crisp, unstained, showing Marcus standing in front of a payphone that had been torn down in 2003. His expression blank, his eyes looking slightly left of the camera, and the timestamp burned into the bottom corner of the image read March 2nd, 2047, 9:12 p.m., a full 24 years into the future, yet matched the exact moment he had left his apartment that night. When scientists from the Department of Temporal Observation, an unofficial agency rumored to exist only through leaked FOIA documents, were shown the evidence, they quietly seized the photo, the notebook, and the apartment's digital data cloud, issuing Jamie a federal gag order and moving her to a location with lower interference potential. And as of now, the case of Marcus Ellison remains officially listed as missing presumed dead, but those who've studied the files believe he stumbled through some kind of breach, a fold in space-time, a blind spot in reality itself triggered, perhaps by something he discovered in his endless code experiments, and others speculate that Marcus never really left that street at all, but that time skipped like a corrupted video file, and whatever returned wasn't quite Marcus. Witnesses today still occasionally report seeing someone who looks just like him standing under broken street lamps, staring up at the sky as if waiting for something to arrive, something overdue. And one 911 operator retired now swears she once answered a call from an unknown number late one night, and all it said was Marcus's voice whispering, "I got the milk." But it's not for here.